a new union that was founded a number of years ago. A number of us participated in the foundation of the union when they were in disputes, even outside. I can remember on picket lines outside the famous John Lewis when they'd outsourced their cleaners and were refusing to pay them a living wage then. And since then, the IWGB has grown. It's been very effective in mobilising workers in the gig industry sector in particular, the gig economy in particular. And again, has been incredibly creative in the campaign that they've done. And the speaker tonight is Laura Hancock, and Laura's the chair of the Yoga Teachers Union within the IWGB. Nice to see you, Laura. Thanks a lot for coming.
Sorry, thank you, John. Yeah, so you talked about IWGB being a very new union, and we're a very, very new branch. So we formed on Monday. I was elected chair of the Yoga Teachers branch, the IWGB, on Monday, and got the call yesterday to see if I could make this call. So a little bit nervous, first time I've ever done this, but it's such an important cause. So thank you for inviting me and letting me be here. So my name's Laura Hancock. I'm a yoga teacher and massage therapist, and we're the first yoga teachers union in the UK and second in the world. It may come as a surprise to many that yoga teachers have needed to unionize. We're lucky that many of us genuinely love what we do. We hold space for people who are in need of support. We teach self-compassion and self-acceptance. We create pathways to rest and restoration. We help people to manage pain and offer tools to cope with stress and anxiety. We build connections and a sense of community where there is often isolation and loneliness. We teach in schools, care homes, community centres, parks, hospitals, yoga venues, gyms, and prisons. There's a great deal of love what we do, and we really, really care about the people we work with. And when it's done well, it offers a great service to our communities. It's a profession, though, that is marketed in such a way that it appears for outsiders like the perfect way of life, a kind of life of wellness, autonomy, radiance, and inner peace. But our reality is really different. When I was asked yesterday to do this speech, I felt terrified in saying yes, but I knew I had to. I was thinking of all of the examples I could speak of, the findings that have come to light in the research that we've done, the countless stories that have been shared by fellow teachers. I want to start with an experience of my own, and this is pre-COVID, just because I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show how long-term this situation has been for yoga teachers. I live in Oxford, which is one of the highest rental prices in the UK. For the majority of my time as a practicing massage therapist and yoga teacher, my rent has equated to approximately 80% of my monthly income. The ongoing, relentless pressure to earn enough money when working in a precarious gig economy plays its toll over time. I was teaching a workshop on a Saturday afternoon. I hadn't had a day off in weeks. My eating schedule was so badly disrupted by the erratic hours I was working that I was feeling weak and unwell. In any other job I've been in, I would have called in sick, taken the time I needed to rest and recover. But with bills and rent due and no sick or holiday pay, I had no choice but to work. At the end of the workshop, a student approached me and said that she was worried about me because I clearly wasn't well and needed to see a doctor. I felt really embarrassed by that, but I laughed it off. I just needed a good night's sleep, and next day I had 6 massage treatments that I needed to do. After that, I could afford to take a couple of days of rest. So I went to work the next day. My hearing was a bit off and I was feeling really feverish, but I was in denial of that. So I just wanted to get through the day. I just needed to get the money in, then I could pay my rent, then I could take some time off. And I remember counting down the hours and getting weaker and weaker with each client. I remember trying to calculate if I could afford a taxi home at the end of the day, because there's no way I'd be able to walk home in the cold. And just as I was coming to the end of my final treatment with a pounding headache, I felt this kind of warm, trickling sensation on my right cheek, and it was blood coming out of my ear. I remember feeling so vulnerable and scared, but being very careful to angle my face in such a way that my client wouldn't be able to see the blood. I got an emergency appointment with a doctor that night. My eardrum had burst and I had 3 infections in my ears and chest. I was bedbound for 7 weeks and I lost my hearing for 3 months. I relied entirely on the generosity of friends who chipped in to cover rent and brought me food, a privilege that I will be forever grateful for. I really wish that that experience was a one-off, but it's just one of many that I could have drawn from today. I thought at that time that I was also alone with these experiences, but that's not the case either. Since starting this work, recognizing the need to unionize, we've spoken to hundreds of teachers across the UK. In the survey that we sent out in October last year, of the 450 who responded, over 70% claimed that their biggest challenge was to earn a livable wage. Many studios and gyms pay £20 or less per class, which may on first hearing sound like a very reasonable rate, but this doesn't factor in the additional 2 hours that teachers spend in preparation for every hour taught, or the extensive travel between the many venues that teachers often work across. This doesn't factor in the training required, insurance, equipment, or the fact that there's no sick pay or holiday pay. We're exhausted, and over 70% of us have suffered moderate to significant losses through COVID-19. Before this meeting today, I reached out to my peers and asked if there'd anything they'd like to share. So I just want to take a bit of time. I probably got through this a bit quicker than I expected to, but just take a bit of time just to read out some of the messages that my peers have shared. So Lynette Greenaway, she has been elected our BAME officer, and the comment she wanted to share was, "Our labour is systematically undervalued. From that point, how do we even begin to tread water when our labour as yoga teachers has this history of low pay? If our hourly rates were increased, then there wouldn't be this continual burnout trying to make ends meet." Lucy Locke, who's our elected women's officer, recounted stories of how she had to rely so heavily on other people for support, a place to live, and the strain that places on those relationships with people we care about and love, those power dynamics that get kind of fractured and abusive in those results. And when she took 2 weeks holiday, she lost her position to the cover teacher. The message she wants to share is it's really hard. It takes time to build. In the beginning, you're only working with 1 or 2 people and you're not even getting £5 or £10. It got really bad. And the final message is from Lucy Bannister. She's our elected LGBTQI officer, and she describes the impact of COVID on her business as a complete loss of all support systems. There was a total removal of everything overnight, which had a huge effect on both physical and mental health, and of course on income level. It wasn't that I just lost my ability to earn my living and run my business. It was the fact that there was no support. As a single parent, my child was at home. I had no childcare and absolutely no support. And through this time of organising, so I think it's been about 18 months now that we've been starting to try to come together. It was actually through COVID that we were given a bit of space to actually do the work that we needed to come together. I got sick very, very early on in COVID, quite seriously. And when I came out of that, there was a real sense of acknowledging the intensity of the vulnerability that we were all facing, but also I had a bit of space and time. So a group of us have been working really, really hard to kind of, work alongside the IWB to create our own branch and try to encourage people to join and start to really kind of see the importance of this collective voice. And the amount of stories I've heard and the amount of people coming forward and how important it feels to us that we have a living wage. And one of the most significant things I've noticed during this time of coming together, of unionizing, has been this visible transition in people's faces and voices, from hopelessness and overwhelm as a thought of such an uncertain and promising future, to hope and excitement of the potential for real empowerment and change. For many years, we've collectively accepted that our choice in career would mean a precarious existence. But things are changing, and we're now beginning to recognize the value of the work that we do and the need for us to speak up and campaign for our rights as workers and our deserving of a living wage. And also a really beautiful thing about this whole process is just the acknowledgement that we are actually workers, and working alongside the IWGB and starting to see how other workers are mobilizing and coming together has really created this sense of collective strength and empowerment. And we feel so incredibly grateful for that. And I'm incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to sit here today and share our experiences. So thank you.
Laura, thank you very much. That was just so enlightening. It really was. There's sections of what we describe as the gig economy, which people I don't think fully understand how it operates, and just the impact of how people work and the impact it will have on their lives and their families as well. And yours is one area I don't think we've ever discussed before. I've never been at a meeting where it's been properly discussed about how people are treated within that sector. So I think this is a huge breakthrough, what you're doing. The organization is just tremendous. It really is. Anyone listening to this, including me, anything we can do to assist you, we certainly will, in terms of support and solidarity. So thanks. That was just brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.